Okay, so the next one, we are looking at a rectangular prism. Now, I have it kind of drawn out here by copying a picture because I'm not great drawing pictures, but it tells us, we have this is our length, which is also the same as that, and the same as that, and the same as that. Then we have our height, which again, there's going to be 4 heights, and we have our width, and again, doesn't matter which one of those 4 we label, but that's length, width, and height. Now we have an equation to find volume. The volume is just going to be the length times the width times the height, and that is going to give us the volume of that rectangular prism. What if we want to know how much surface area it is? Basically, amount of surface area on that side, plus 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 the downside. Well, what we have to do is we have to find the surface area of, one of the opposite sides. So here we take width times height, and then we have to multiply it by 2. So we're going to take 2 times the width times the height, and then we're going to take length times height and get this big square area or a rectangle area. And so we're going to take 2 times that, and so we have length times height here. And then we'll take this area down here on the bottom, that's length times width. And because there's also one on top, we're going to have that 2 times that as well. And so this will give us the surface area. So basically we have to multiply here, multiply here, multiply here, add all that up, and then multiply by 2. So they give us length, width, and height, 10 meters, 4 meters, 7 meters, and they want us to find both volume and the surface area. Well, volume is going to be, it's going to be length, which is 10 meters. We don't need the meters here, though. We'll leave that out for now. So 10 times the width, which is 4, times the height, which is 7. Okay. Well, now that just means we have to multiply here. Now, I see if I multiply by 10 last, I can just add in 0. I don't have to do too much work. So I'm going to take 4 times 7 first. Well, 4 times 7 is 28. And then if I take that times 10, I get 280. And so my volume is going to be 280. Now remember, this is meters times meters times meters. So that's going to be meters cubed. So we have to remember to keep our units with it. And so we have the volume is 280 cubic meters. Okay. So again, just multiplying 3 numbers together, it's not too hard, and so that's how we found our volume. Now this one, we have to do a multiplication 3 times, and then add all that together, and then we multiply that whole thing by 2. So our surface area is going to be equal to 2 times the width, which is 4, times height, which is 7, plus then we have length times height, so that's 10 times 7, plus now we have length times width, so 10 times 4. And so now we have to take each of those and multiply them. So now we have equals 2 times, 4 times 7, we found that was 28 already, plus 10 times 7, well, that's 70. Well, 10 times 4, that's 40. Now let's just add those together, 70, 40, and 28. So 8 plus 0 is 8, and then we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's going to give us 2 times 138, okay? And so what do we get there? Well, we have to multiply that 138 times 2, so I'm just going to do it right below here. So 2 times 8 is 16, carry 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and then 2 times 1 is 2, and so that gives me 276. Now what do we have? Well, that's meters times meters, that's meters times meters, that's meters times meters, so that's a meter squared, meter squared, meter squared, and so that's really just going to be the surface area is 276 square meters. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit of work to do as far as multiplying and adding, but none of it's really hard, and we just have to use the two formulas here that are provided. Now you should be able to also figure that out. You could find, the surface area of this. We'd just know it's length times height, and that would give us this outer one. But then you say, hey, you know what? There's one back here behind too, so let's have two of those. And then this surface area of this side, well, that's just going to be width times height. But hey, there's one over here too, as long as this one. So that would be 2 times that. Then we have a top and a bottom, which is length times width. And so we have 2 times that. So really, if we wanted to, we could have 2WH plus 2LH plus 2LW, and we could have solved that instead. And so we could add 3 numbers multiply, 3 numbers multiply, 3 numbers multiply, instead of 2 numbers, 2 numbers, 2 numbers, add all that together, and then one last multiplication. Same thing, it just depends on which way you think looks easier, because one of them kind of splits apart each of the different kinds of side types, and then we have that 2 in front of it. All right, so here we have the formula. C, which is for degrees Celsius, is equal to 5 times the degrees Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 9. And so they give us the formula for the degrees Celsius, and we have to plug in, it looks like here, F, because they tell us what our degrees F is. So that gives us a Celsius temperature, C, in terms of the Fahrenheit temperature, F. Now use that formula to find the Celsius temperature in degrees Celsius if the Fahrenheit temperature is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in C equals 5 times 95 minus 32 divided by 9. So now order of operations. Well, we get to do that subtraction first. So 95 minus 32, 5 minus 2 is 3, 9 minus 3 is 6. All right, so we've got that. So this is, if we keep going down, 5 times 63 divided by 9. Now I'm thinking before I start doing anything, you can divide or you can multiply at the same time. It doesn't matter. And this never really does. This is top and bottom. This isn't left to right. So I'm starting to see here, if I take 9, I can divide that into 63. And that'll save me from taking 5 times 63 and then dividing that by 9. If I take 9 divided by 9, that's 1. 9 goes into 63 how many times? Well, that goes in 7 times. So I've just reduced this fraction, or this problem, into 5 times 7. That's now what this problem is equal to. And now 5 times 7 we know is 35, and it's in degrees Celsius. Okay, and so that is our temperature we're looking for as far as what 95 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to. Now, can we do it the other way? Of course we can. We can take 63 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 1. That's 30. And then plus 1 is 315. So now we're going to take 315 divided by, and now we divide it by 9. So 9 goes in here 3 times. That's 27. Now we have to borrow 1. So now 11, 7, and 4 is 11. Bring down our 5. 9 times what is 45? Well, 9 times 5, that's 45. So we've subtracted here, we subtracted here, now we get 0, and we get the same 35. Except this way, there's a little bit more work we had to do as this way, where we saw, hey, 9 goes into 63 7 times, and we do that really quick division in our head. Then we just have to take 5 times 7, which we can do in our head again. Whereas this one, we couldn't do any of this in our head. And so that was the one way to go about it, but it was a little more difficult if we didn't see that reduction there. All right, we'll stop there.